So Elon Musk just recently went on Joe Rogan's podcast. The reason, I don't know, they're buddies. They had a regular lengthy Joe Rogan episode for about 3 hours. I did not watch it, but I saw this clip on the JRE subreddit. I probably watched this clip for about, I don't know, 6, 7, 8. Probably gonna be my 10th, maybe 11th time I've watched it to try to understand what the heck is Elon Musk talking about. So we're gonna watch this clip together. I'm gonna break some of the things down, and also feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. What's your opinion about it? I might be wrong. Hell, even Joe and Elon seem like they don't even know what the hell they're talking about.
Single arm lock.
Like if you try to do a lock on the side.
So like it's side control. So from someone like legs across your face. Is that what you mean?
No, if you try to do an arm bar on the side, one arm across the knee, go across the thigh, like you have to be able to extend the arm. So your essentially your triceps have to be able to exceed the strength of their bicep. Is what it comes down to.
So if you have a better understanding of what Elon said and what Joe is trying to comprehend, write it down below on the comments. So this clip was posted by Solo Mur. Elon Musk explains an advanced grappling technique, the single-armed arm lock, to Joe.
To actually, if you stick to the rules of jiu-jitsu, like for example, if you want to put someone in an arm lock, you have to be able to extend their arm. And if somebody is strong enough that you cannot extend their arm, then you're limited to
chokes,
and you can do an arm lock across the groin with both arms and legs, like Royce Gracie did upside down, and I think it was like the third UFC fight or something like that.
Yeah,
but he was pretty severely damaged.
He's talking about Royce Gracie fighting Kimo, and he is right about how it ends and implementing a armbar from the bottom. So here's that. That's where he taps.
That was when he fought Kimo. Yeah, that enormous guy.
Yeah, and he did upside down arm lock across the groin because he could not do an arm lock, a sort of sidebar arm lock. So, but after that, people were like, "Why is that move?" So they were like, "We're not going to be allow themselves to get an arm lock across the groin without, that was like a, overconfidence, I think."
Well, it was exhaustion. I mean, they fought like tooth and nail for something like 7 or 8 minutes, and Royce survived, and then eventually wore the guy. Well, when you're a big steroided up,
that is correct. That is exactly what happens in the fight. Let's go back to the fight. So they wrestle all the way. They even open the cage and stuff. Then it's a battle. It's a battle of wrestling, jiu-jitsu. Even though he's the bigger guy, skills do matter, and Royce Gracie is a master at control. Then they go to the ground, and then Kimo gets his back. Even though he's in the back, even though he might be stronger, Royce still possesses the skill to escape from that. I think, how the fight looked, even though it was a back and forth, Kimo still managed to get on top of him. And, I think in the judges' eyes, they'll probably see that as Kimo winning. So, and it took him like around 8 minutes for the fight to finish. The way that Royce looked in that fight, it looked like he was, getting dominated. So he had to finish the fight, and so he used the armbar there from the bottom, and that's what got him the finish.
That too, the oxygen depletion, like the amount of oxygen your muscles require, you gas out pretty quickly when you're that big, unless you're insanely conditioned.
Yeah, but like there's no way for him to do arm lock, like a single arm lock.
So he said there is no way for him to do.
Yeah, but like there's no way for him to do.
So I think he's referring to Royce. Like if he was fighting Royce, this is what he would have done. Am I right or wrong? It sounds like he's Kimo in a way, so he's gonna explain that technique.
Single arm lock.
Like if you try to do a lock on the side.
So like it's side control. So from someone like legs across your face. Is that what you mean?
No, if you try to do an arm bar on the side, one arm across the knee, across the thigh, like you have to be able to extend the arm. So your essentially your triceps have to be able to exceed the strength of their bicep. Is what it comes down to.
Your biceps have to exceed their triceps.
Triceps have to be able to exceed the strength of their bicep. Is what it comes down to.
I guess, yeah. Logically, I guess.
But if you cannot exceed the strength of their bicep, then you will not be able to do an arm extension.
I'm not sure what
Okay.
are you talking about, like Kimura?
Even just like, I don't understand. A Kimura? Is that what you're talking about? Can I also remember Elon when he was doing that whole Mark Zuckerberg MMA in the Coliseum thing, and they both went out to train. I give, Zuckerberg or the Zuck credit for having actual footage, of him sparring and rolling. And then you just have Elon, just one picture, I think. That's the move he's talking about. Maybe that's his patented move. I think we might have solved what he's talking about. So he thinks he could do that to Zuckerberg. Your bicep has to exceed their tricep. Oh, I'm starting to get it. I think this is what he was talking about.
Triceps have to be able to exceed the strength of their bicep, is what it comes down to.
Like a straight arm bar?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're talking about like with just the arms?
Where you just have one arm, like if it's one arm versus one arm.
But that's never the case. It's almost always the whole body's engaged.
One arm versus one arm on the bottom, that's hard to do. If you're the guy on the top, then you have the power on the top. If you're on the bottom, you could hypothetically do a Kimura, which is what Joe said there. And a Kimura is like different, right? A Kimura can be this, it could be on the bottom like that. Like Brock Lesnar did that, like it's also this.
I think it's well in judo that's a very common hold, a very common.
A one arm bar.
Yeah, one arm.
Yeah.
You have your one arm around the neck.
So in judo they have the one arm lock. Okay. So I googled the judo one arm lock. I think this is what Elon is talking about when he's talking about the judo arm lock. So this is the only thing that popped up, the basic judo arm lock, because he said it's quite common.
If Stevie's arm's like that, I can press all day. It's not going to be an arm lock. If it's there, like that, I can press all day. It's not going to be an arm lock. But when I put my hand under and create a space here above the joint and press down, now that becomes an arm lock. Okay? Now, some people are a lot more limber than others, and some people have got really flexible joints. So it's something you've got to play around with. But also, always, your arm is above his joint. There's the arm lock there. If that's not working, turn his hand out the way. If that's not working, pull it in, turn it down.
This is so fascinating. I'm legit watching this because it's fascinating, man.
There's your arm lock. Now that can be for a reverse position as well. If Stevie reverses his hand, I do the exact same thing. My hand goes, there's his elbow, there's his shoulder. My hand goes there. In, pull it in. There's your arm lock.
See, there's different variations.
Pull it in. There's your arm lock.
Mm-hmm.
And you take their arm and you extend it across.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so
armbar.
like from a scarf hold. So a scarf hold, you would take the arm and put it over, and you would push it down with one arm. Yeah, that's
the move.
I think he really is talking about that picture of Elon that I'm referring to, that he's talking about. I think this is what he's talking about. Joe thinks that he's talking about a scarf hold.
Your one arm around the neck.
Mm-hmm.
And you take their arm and you extend it across.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so
armbar.
like from a scarf hold. So a scarf hold, you would take the arm and put it over, and you would push it down with one arm. Yeah, that's unusual though. Yeah, that's an unusual arm bar.
But that's not an arm bar. I just checked it out. This is from Josh Barnett. The scarf hold is a chest choke. It's not an arm lock.
Recently, some of you may believe that this is a neck crank and not a choke. It can be both, but in this case, we're just going to do the choke.
See, it's a choke, not an arm lock. Sure, he has his arm wrapped around his arms, but it's not an arm lock. It's a choke.
My arm is deep across the neck. And to start off with, I've got my thigh. Why my thigh? Because, for one, being here and here is not enough.
See, that's way different than an arm lock. This is a choke hold.
If one person is much stronger than another, then that's the move.
Yeah, but
it's a very fast move because you can take someone right from a throw, drop them on the floor, right into an arm bar.
Yeah. Okay. That's a very specific arm bar.
10 seconds.
Right. That's a rare arm bar. You never see that in MMA. What you do see though is the two legs.
Because it's not an arm bar. It's a choke hold.
Some of you may believe that this is a neck crank and not a choke. It can be both.
isolate the arm, and then the person grabs a hold of it with a thumb up and uses all of their body weight.
Yeah, that's what Gracie did.
Yeah, that's what most people do when they apply an arm bar.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a regular arm bar.
Like, you know, a lot of people have done that, or whether it's from side control, which is a little more easy because you have control of the body.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just that you know, UFC is not just jiu-jitsu. You can punch people.
Right. That makes
So-
a big.
Wow, it's
UFC is not just jiu-jitsu. You can punch people.
Right.
the man. It just it's very difficult to listen to. Like, not knowing what the actual name of the choke or the position is makes it more harder for you to find out what is he actually talking about.
Single arm lock.
Like if you try to do a lock on the side.
So like it's side control. So from someone
it's like-
legs across your face. Is that what you mean?
No, if you try to do an arm bar on the side, you know, one arm across the knee, you know, go across the thigh, like you have to be able to extend the arm. So your essentially your you know, triceps have to be able to exceed the strength of their bicep. Is what it comes down to.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Like I said, guys, let me know what you guys think he's talking about. Am I right? I think what he's talking about is this. I think this is what he's talking about. I feel like this is what he's talking about because this is the only move that he knows.
One bar on the side, you know, one arm across the knee, you know, go across the thigh. Like you have to be able to extend the arm. So your essentially your you know, triceps have to be able to exceed the strength of their bicep. Is what it comes down to.
Let's look at the comments. The elegant farmer says this is painful to listen to. I agree.